as in TikTok or for my life?
Whatever you are comfortable to say.
Yeah, in TikTok, I'm just here for making friends, for interacting with new friends. Yeah, like that.
Okay, get it. That's fine. So Abe, you are saying Somalia
Yeah.
thought is more appropriate. Yeah, I guess you mean that maybe I should call myself that. That's good idea. Yeah, but I do a wide variety of content. Abe, I hope I'm saying your name right. So I don't want to lock out other people, but I hear what you are saying. But overall, I like to hear it, so it's what it is. Maybe you can. What is your name? Joy. You can either mute or yeah, because thank you for that. James.
See you. I'm interested. Just continue teaching us. Just continue
Yeah, I'm saying
talking.
you mute.
Whatever you are.
If you can mute, will be fine, or you just because the sound from your end is destructive. It's yeah. Mwangi, always interesting to listen to your pre-colonial lecture. Okay, I didn't know you watch my stuff. Good to know. Yeah, good to know that. And it's good to hear. Oh, let me. Mwangi, you can unmute. I think you joined.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a number of years.
Yeah,
COVID, I think that's the last one we met.
yeah, it's been like 5 years or more. It's been a while. I hope you're doing fine though.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Are you still doing? Was it? I think you were doing virtual assistance or something like that.
Yeah, though as things stand, we are exiting that space.
Things are tough. Eh?
Basically, you know, gradually, uh, we've seen the market get flooded, and competition is no longer about quality; it's on the rates, and
Mm-hmm.
some of those rates can stick. So, it's been a gradual exit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's life. But I also did a bit of affiliate marketing,
Yes.
Amazon affiliate marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that from around, I think, 2018, 2019. Then post COVID, those rates, because I was doing, yeah, the Amazon rates really went down. So my motivation again
Died.
jumped out through the window because I had two sites at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, now I have a site which doesn't even pay, which barely pays its hosting.
I did do some affiliate actually. Maybe 2021, maybe 2019. Yeah, I think it was 2018, 2019. I did some affiliate with Amazon. Um, I was just testing and then it went very well. And then 2021, I got distracted with other projects and then I ignored the site and then I forgot to pay and it was generating some money. I forgot to pay the domain. I completely forgot. By the time I was coming back, somebody else had grabbed it and ran with it. So I stopped. I never went back to affiliate. But even by then, the rates were coming down. I think I did receive like a few emails where they were saying they were cutting the commission for some specific sections of their for whatever they have. Yeah, so it wasn't looking good, anyways. Yeah, yeah. So,
Actually, they started, I think, mid 2020. That's when they, at the onset of COVID,
mm,
shortly after,
mm,
that's when they began bringing down the rates. To find something was doing 8%, now it's at 4%, 5%. Then
mhm.
uh, gradually they come down to like 2% because for me, I used to have one specific product which was ranking quite well.
Mhm.
It wasn't expensive.
Mhm.
It was less than $20.
Mhm.
So it was doing quite well. But
Mm.
the moment the rates were slashed by more than a half,
That killed you.
so yeah, that's really
Uh, have you tried drop shipping?
uh, not really. I haven't tried drop shipping. The only thing I was trying to learn last year, but I'm also gotten stuck, is the other side of the Amazon sellers.
The Amazon sellers. Yeah, I've never tried that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I haven't really tried, but I've learned a bit about it. I've been learning from Reddit and a bit of material on the internet. So it's the Amazon AFP, whereby
Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah.
it's AFP, whereby you just you know uh, stock your Amazon store and then you sell through Amazon. So the problem with that one, where the challenge getting started and going somewhere is you have to really dig deep
Hmm.
to find something that is going to be something that will sell and then again will be profitable because there's someone who is accessing the item you want to sell and probably have the cost you're going to access it.
Maybe you should answer this question for me. How exactly does FBA work? Because is it that you get your own products, like you source them, or is sort of a drop shipping sort of arrangement where you just pick products from suppliers, and then the suppliers will ship, and then you just pay them, and then you take a cut? Is that how it works?
So it's almost similar, but the difference is that you're going to source for products, and then you have like an account as a seller on Amazon.
Mhm.
Now the products you've sourced based on the country you'll be operating your Amazon store on, those products will actually now be shipped to like an Amazon warehouse,
Mhm.
and from that point, Amazon will be the one fulfilling the orders because the buyers will actually be buying from Amazon. So, um, yes, it's kind of drop shipping, but now you see it's not the seller, the original seller or the original supplier. Now it's Amazon fulfilling that order.
Okay, so I get it. So in this arrangement is basically you are supplying to Amazon, which will sell. But
I think you're not.
in drop shipping, you are basically finding the clients, the customers, that is not exactly the clients, and then you go to the Chinese suppliers,
Yes,
and
yes,
then you tell the Chinese supplier, I want you to ship that product to this person. And of course, that person pays you, and then you take your cut and you pay the Chinese guy his money. But with Amazon, I'm
yeah.
not getting where the difference is. Is the Amazon the one buying the is Amazon treating you as sort of a supplier?
So Amazon is, you see, at the end of the day, Amazon has no products of its own. I think that's the point we have to
Yeah, that's
stress
true.
on. So
Mm-hmm.
it's relying on different sellers
Mm-hmm.
on its platform
Mm-hmm.
to actually sell what they think the market needs. So Amazon is giving the platform. You source whatever, as long as you're approved as a seller, you source your product to the Amazon warehouse.
Now the
So
question
let's
is,
say,
who is this
yeah,
supplier? Is this the Chinese guy we are talking about? Of course, it's not always the Chinese, but primarily these things come from China. Now, who is this? You are you the seller or are you the middleman?
I would say you're the middleman in this case because Amazon is the one that's going to process the payment.
Yeah, but when I, of course, now here there is this. I am the middleman, right? I'm the one talking to
Yeah,
the Chinese guy who's manufacturing products. Yeah? I do I have now on my end, do I have an interaction with the buyer, the end consumer? Let's say it's a toothbrush. Let's say it's a toothbrush that I'm dealing with. I go to the Chinese manufacturers, I talk to them, and they are like, yeah, we can supply you these toothbrushes, and per piece, however you're going to price it, maybe it is $5. And then I supply it through Amazon. Is it called Amazon FBA, right?
yeah,
It is I don't have any communication with the end buyer, do I?
yeah. There's no communication between you and the end buyer, but the end buyer
Mhm.
can actually rate your products
They can rate the
based on.
product. So there is a link to me as the person who sourced the product from China, let's say.
So I think what we have is you have a store within Amazon
Mm-hmm.
where you're selling. Because the way it works, I understand many people don't necessarily buy from those far off places like China. They tend to identify suppliers
Mm-hmm.
closer home, like I would say wholesalers, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because practically, I was at some point I was trying to find wholesalers in the UK for beauty products,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the challenge if you try to ship into like from China to the UK, it's a little challenging because now the taxes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But now, if you are buying from within that country, from within, if you're getting a wholesaler from within, let's say it's a wholesaler from within US,
Mm-hmm.
um, the wholesaler has that advantage of they will just dispatch the item to the warehouse, the Amazon warehouse. But now, if you order from China and something takes, the logistics ends up taking a bit long, there
Mm-hmm.
might be issues. Also, some of these things might encounter issues getting to that country, but when something is already within
It
that
is
country
easier.
and with wholesalers, it's easier and there won't be some back and forth with the regulators of imports and all that. So
Yeah, I was trying to
it's
figure out the difference it has with drop shipping because I've done a lot of it's drop shipping has always interested me. I did set up a little bit of the shop at one point. I did not make any sales, but I was trying to understand how it works. So I can say, while I don't have the detailed experience with the drop shipping, I have some level of understanding on how it works. I remember there was this guy who was selling us. Maybe you saw him selling us some booklets about drop shipping. So with drop shipping, it's basically you set up the shop. Often, of course, people are targeting the American market because it's the most lucrative. Of course, there are people who target the UK, maybe Australia, those, but mostly it's the US. You set up the shop. Now the challenge often is getting traffic to your shop. Some people choose to
yeah,
use ads. Some people use TikTok of late is becoming like a very popular place to source traffic. Buying traffic or organic traffic, it does not matter, as long you have to get the traffic to the shop, whichever way you choose. Some people are ready to spend $10,000 to bring the traffic to the shop. Some people are like maybe slow, create content and slowly bring people in, have that sales funnel. And then now the shop is the person buying just thinks they are dealing with you, just you, because you are marketing as you even brand the products. You might get the product from the Chinese guy, you just give them specifics, they just produce a product, then you brand them, you give them your own name, whatever. Now people buy, but you are not the one shipping the product. It's a Chinese guy who will ship on you, and they understand that process because they have been doing it. They know, of course, even them, they are looking to sell, so they will just do the fulfilling for you. So I was trying to find that link, but seems like it's a little bit different. Let me see, maybe people are leaving me messages. Abe, I hope you're still around. You are asking, did you read the Epstein files? He said on Kenya, if the Maasai don't eat me, the Somali pirates. Yes, I did. And I actually created a video where I read that specific email. Actually, I did, and it was quite funny. And then there's somewhere where I think it's the lady telling Epstein that maybe I should bring you some baby from Africa, which was funny because there is a story with the babies or some conspiracy theory with the babies. Let me see if somebody else has left. Mwangi, Munisaidi, and yeah, somebody is asking that you help them with 100 Bob Mwangi. uh, um, there is funny thing with helping people in Nairobi, and I don't think it's just Nairobi. I think it's something that is now common everywhere. And the issue is the people who really need the help don't ask for it. And then there are these people who are asking for help left, right, and center, who are basically conning people. That's the most unfortunate thing. There are people who really need help, and even when you want to help, nowadays it's very difficult to know whether the person you are trying to help is he really needs your help or is just playing to get more money from people. Subhadanala theme. I hope I know I'm not getting your name right. You forgive me for that. You are saying, are you in the US? No, I'm not in the US. In Nairobi, Kenya. That's where I'm based. Yeah, that's where I am usually. That's where we are with Mwangi here. Um, I didn't see the post that I am. Oh, you're saying, Abby, you're saying you didn't see that post on the Epstein files. I think I did three videos on the Epstein files. I did one about reading the emails that mentioned Kenya or Nairobi. Then I did one where I was reading emails that talk about Ethiopia. There was a very interesting, and the Ethiopian one was very interesting because all the emails were about one specific project, and it was an AI project, which I found to be very interesting. This is AI project from 2014, I think, or 2011. So before even everybody was talking about AI like we do today. Then I did another one about emails discussing Somalia. There was one where I was discussing polio vaccination in Mogadishu that was being paid for by a certain NGO that seems to have gotten money from either Epstein or friends of Epstein. And then there were issues with that vaccination where somebody lost their lives in the streets of Mogadishu. Yeah, so I did. You should check my videos. You will see those videos there. Yeah, look into those. You will see them. They are very recent, actually. They are very recent. Yeah, you're saying you saw the one about the AI in Ethiopia. Yeah, that was very. Yeah, it was, but it also seemed like the project was not actually like the focus was not so much on the project. Like it's like they were using the project to cover for something else. That's what I thought. At least that's what I thought. But when I read the emails, um, Joe, it's Jeffrey Epstein. Yes. Um, yeah, they are all found in that portal by the department. I think it's the Department of Justice. I'm thinking could be. Yeah, I think it is that. Epstein files. Let me confirm that. Files, Epstein files. Yeah, Department of Justice. Yes. Like some sort of smoke. Yeah, that's what I thought, Abby. I thought it was, I was trying to read it and I was trying to make sense of it. And I got the feeling like this project, and it is a project under another project that I think was in Singapore. And then there was this, what made me think that this project is a cover up is when they start, in one of the emails, he say, or maybe you should choose either Singapore or Ethiopia. I was like, I don't think this project is, this seems like some project that doesn't make sense. Yeah, yeah, there are very interesting stuff in those emails. Let me see. Some people are trying to come in. Let's see. Hello. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing okay. I just came in when I heard about this stories that you're just raising now.
Yeah.
It's very sensitive.
Yes.
And it's something that, well, for me, I have another understanding and another, what I call, perspective about this issue.
Yeah.
There was nothing that never happened in Africa. They're testing everything in Africa.
Yeah.
That's our point here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
From everything, from the NGO, on all these things, is something that was going on for so long, and the effect will be seen after some time, even not now in Africa itself.
Yeah, of course there are a lot of things that happen, and some of them we either we don't understand or we are made not to understand. It can be yeah, and then
we don't want to understand. The problem is that we don't want to understand. Anyway, how are you doing? You good?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good today. I'm just having an easy conversation.
I just love the content. I love the content that you do always, and how you see things deep, how you go through every issue in depth. So I appreciate and still I watch your videos.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the only thing that I wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to disclose the whole thing, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. Yeah, some of those things, of course, they are difficult things to talk about, and I understand what you mean. Like some of these things are not easy to bring up. Like, yeah, but I appreciate you watching and your feedback. I really appreciate. I'm Eddie. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
I normally listen to you also, but sometimes.
Yeah.
I'd rather advise you to go to the archives. You know, they opened the Colonial Archives. You know that?
The Corona Archives.
The Colonial Archives.
Oh.
Recently, 1 year.
Okay, where is that?
You know that?
Where is that?
The Kenya National Archives. If you go, there was a colonial archives that were closed, but they were opened, I think, 1 year ago.
Oh, okay. In fact, there was a time I was considering going there. It's just that I want
you to go there and get the real things about what you talk about.
Yeah.
Records.
It's something I've been thinking about, actually. It's interesting that you brought, but I did not know that they just opened up some.
They opened 1 year ago. They were closed for some years, and then they opened about 1 year ago, 2 years ago.
Is that the archive in town, or they have another place?
The National Archives, you know the Kenya National Archives.
Yeah, I know the one in town in CBD.
Yes, the one in town, and then you go to there's also the other one called Macmillan Library. I think they also have it there also.
Okay.
You know that library next to Jamia Mosque?
Yeah, I've seen it, but I've never gone into it, which is a shame, of course, that I've never gone into it.
It is a very old building.
Yes.
It's a very old building. It's got a lot of colonial archives. I think that was they've opened also.
Okay.
So you'll be surprised at what you'll find there.
Some
of these things we know, but others don't know.
Yeah, I think we are just we.
The reason why we know because sometimes when you talk about the colonial, that is my family. Me, I'm Somali. My grandmother was born in Nairobi. 1916.
Yeah.
There were Somalis in Nairobi in 18 something.
Yeah, of course.
Find a lot of it.
Yeah, of course, they would have to be, because
you're going to have to educate the Kenyans who think Somalis are foreign.
That's a narrative that I've never understood where it came from. Maybe you will help me with that. Maybe you have some ideas. Where did that narrative come from?
I think it's politicians who are trying to divide people.
Yeah, because it's a narrative. I watched a video recently of, I think he's a Nigerian, if I'm not wrong, some person from West Africa, I think, and nowadays they are coming to Nairobi, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course, creating content. And then this person went to Isli, and I don't know where he got a tour guide from. I don't think the tour guide was even a Kenyan. I think the tour guide was like an Ugandan or something. And this person went to Isli, and he was moving around. Of course, he did not say anything bad really about the place, so we can't really be like he was malicious. But then he said, "Oh, you see all these Somalis, they came from their country and they made Kenya their home." And
I tend to think that first of all, the name
confuses.
coming from a very innocent.
Yeah, I agree with I think the name also confuses some people. Go on, Mwangi.
It is not the name because look, Somalis are not the only tribes living in different countries. The Maasais are in Tanzania and Kenya. The Luyas, the Bukusu, they're in Uganda and Kenya. So there are other communities who are in both sides of two different countries. But what these people don't understand is before colonization, people were living as communities as one. It's the colonists who came and divided these lands.
Yeah, the people. Yeah. I think what Mwangi is trying to say, Ahmedi, is saying that he's saying the name in that there is a country called Somalia. So, and then the people are called Somali. So some people are unable to separate that actually the Somali is a nationality and Somalia is a state. You get? So for somebody who is detailed, they can be able to separate. But for somebody who is not so detailed, or maybe is distracted, or maybe has not paid enough attention, therefore to them Somalia and Somalia becomes one and the same thing. So when they hear, oh, there are Somalis in Kenya, in their mind they are thinking, oh, then that means they must have come from Somalia. I hope you get what Mwangi is trying to say.
It's actually as a result of just ignorance. And also, I think another thing that would also play some part in this, if you look at the map of Kenya, it looks, I would say, like a majority, a huge percentage of the Kenyan people have probably never gone northwards beyond some places. I would say this, So if you look at the map of Kenya, majority of Kenyans, even the very traveled ones, they have been born and grown within areas around, I would say, the corridor between Mombasa and Busia.
Yes, that southern corridor.
Yeah, so
I don't agree. I don't agree with you. What it is,
allow me to finish. Allow me to finish.
Let Mwangi finish and then Ahmed will come in. Let's have a cordial conversation. Let's give him a moment to explore his argument and then you'll come in, Ahmed. Go on, Mwangi.
Yeah, so the fact that these people have never traveled beyond, these big numbers of people living down here have never traveled northwards and gotten to understand, who exactly lives there, who are the natives, the actual natives, going to know that, these people have actually been here for long enough, longer than, some of those in the south. So lack of exposure is one, lack of, understanding the geography and various communities as they live in those areas is actually a contributing factor to them thinking that they're not Somalis who are actually Kenyans by default, by birth and everything. So they end up thinking that if you find a Somali, they're not from here. They probably came from out there. So I think majority of people down here have not traveled northwards. They have not traveled wide enough to get to understand Kenya is it is and all that. So that's also a factor in my view.
Okay, so Mwangi is saying it has to do with basically ignorance that comes from lack of traveling or lack of understanding. Ahmed, I'll let you come in a moment, but I need to explain that I even had a conversation with someone very recently, and I think there's something we're talking about that topic came up, and I had to remind that person that do you know that almost a third of Kenya is traditionally the land of the Somali? Almost a third, I think, or could be a little bit bigger than that, of the landmass. We are talking of the landmass. But most people don't realize that because I think I would agree to Mwangi or with Mwangi on that. Most people are very ignorant on that. Ahmedi, you wanted to, but before you say it, there are people watching me on YouTube. We are talking about general stuff anyways, nothing specific at this moment. We're having a conversation about why so many people, Kenyans, think that whenever they see a Somali, he must have come from Somalia, not a native of the country. Ahmed, go on.
well, that's like I was telling you. Kenya was not a country by itself. It was created by the British. Do you agree on that?
Yeah, most African countries today are a creation of colonization. That's a fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Uganda. There's a time Uganda was up to near Eldoret.
Up to Naivasha, not Eldoret. Up to Naivasha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this area of the Somalis who are living as one community. Is the British? They cut it and then put it in Kenya. If you go to history, that's why I'm telling you, go to the archives. You know, there was a referendum before Kenya got independent. There's a referendum that was done. People were asked. So there's also politics behind it. There's also marginalization contributed not to give people information. There's a lot of things behind people not knowing these things.
So, in your opinion, you think it comes from, let's say, use the word propaganda, sort of. Maybe you can correct me if I'm misrepresenting your views.
It is because that those regions were marginalized.
Yeah, but my question will be, what was the goal of? I understand on marginalization because that can be, but my point would be, what was the goal of making the rest of Kenyans think of the people from, let's say, the former Northeastern? Of course, today we have the counties.
Yeah, that is not, it's not only Northeastern. Do you know, if we speak the real truth, Kenyan history is not out there. If the real Kenyan history comes out, they don't want it to come out. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, you see, as you put it, and I don't think it's a secret. Sometimes we discuss it as if it's a secret that Kenya is a creation of Kenya is a creation. And it's not a secret, and it's not just Kenya. Is very few countries in Africa today were not creation of colonization. Very few, very few. Maybe we can talk of Abyssinia, could be, although there were things that changed. Of course, the border changed a bit during colonization.
Abyssinia, they were not colonized, they were working with the...
Yeah, that's why I'm saying very few countries in Africa today, very few countries in Africa today were not a creation of colonization. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm trying to say Abyssinia is one of those, but their borders changed, of course. We can talk maybe we can talk of... Yeah, besides that, I'm trying to bring up the point of the countries in Africa that can have a claim that they were not created by colonization. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I'm talking of countries that are a nation and at the same time a state. You know, being a nation is one thing and being a state is another thing. Those are two things we often confuse also. Because Kenya, there is no nation that was Kenya before colonization. But there was a nation called Somali nation. But it wasn't a state. The entire of Somalia has never been a state. I will also want you to agree with me on that. Yeah, it does not matter whether it's a kingdom or a republic. Somali nation has never been one state. There is no time in history that it has. It has been sultanates that rule different parts of the land of the nation of Somalia. So that's also an historical fact. So Kenya, there was no nation like Kenya. There was a Somali nation, but it was also never a state. There has been attempts to make it a state. It's still work in progress, we can say, historically speaking. Maybe it's not historically, but politically speaking. So there are very few countries. Maybe if you go to the south, maybe Rwanda can claim to be a nation that existed before colonization and it still exists as a nation and a state. And Burundi, maybe Lesotho, maybe Swaziland. But the rest of Africa, and maybe Egypt. I think Egypt can make that claim. I think Egypt can make a claim that they existed before colonization as a nation and a state. Maybe, I don't know. You can add something as I bring in more people. Ahmedi, go ahead. I think you want to say something.
No, just bring it up. You must just do what I told you. Go to the archive and then you talk about that.
Yeah, I will do that actually. It's something I intended to do, but for some reason I became busy with other things. I never followed it up. But I thought that maybe if I go to the National Archives, there must be material there that is that could be very interesting. That could be very interesting. You know, another thing with history is of, I always say this, history is always simplified to absurdity. And what I mean by being simplified to absurdity, and sometimes it's not out of malice. Sometimes it's out of, how can I put it? Sometimes it's out of trying to make, because history is a lot. So trying to make it easy for people to understand, very important points are made to become like a joke. And sometimes very important points are ignored. And then very insignificant parts of history are made to seem to be so significant. And then, yeah, you get what I mean. So I always say history is simplified to absurdity. Let me bring in Remy. Yeah, Remy, welcome. How are you doing? I think I've seen you sometime in the past. Go on. Yeah, you are the guy from Mumias. Yeah, I remember. I remember when we were having a conversation about the Bukusu resistance. Is it you who told me you are going to visit the place where, I think there's another guy who told me he was going to visit the place where the resistance of the Bukusu happened. Go on.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Okay.
Like the hill forts and like the castles out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to say something about what we were talking about.
Yeah, but obviously I think that there's nations and states, right? And I think Lesotho might count because there's a continuous chain between the modern state of Lesotho and the previous kingdom, although now it's 1/4 the size.
Yeah, Lesotho counts. I don't want to be so confident about it for one simple reason. That's Lesotho and Swaziland. There is a reason I'm not very confident. I might want to interrogate what did the apartheid South Africa do, or how did the apartheid South Africa contribute to um, the being of Lesotho and Swaziland? So because of that, I'm a little bit, but I think they.
Swaziland were never part of the Union of South Africa. Right? It was the Cape Colony, Transvaal, the African Free State, and Natal that were part became the Union of South Africa, then the South African Republic.
Yeah, I know they were not. My point is, even though they were not, did the upper, because I think I saw a documentary where there was a discussion about the apartheid South Africa trying to prop up some states around.
The Bantustans.
Yeah, the Bantustans, yes. Mm-hmm.
They were an internal policy within South Africa, but because, let's say, Swaziland was a protectorate separate from the Union of South Africa, they were kind of like their own thing.
So you will say Swaziland and Lesotho will count as one of the few African countries that are from before colonial times that were a nation and at the same time a state. Yeah, I think then we can put them in. Others are nations. Yeah, others like Buganda never survived. They were a nation before colonial time, but they never survived. Yeah, so, and often we mix up the state and the nation so much. People can be a nation, but they are not a state. And a state can be a state, but it's not a nation. Kenya is not there. Do you think, let me hear from you, Remy, do you think Kenya qualifies to be a nation at this point?
Nation, no. I would say it's a mosaic of different nations within one state.
Yes, I agree with you. I don't think it has reached a point where we can call it a nation. It might at some point.
Because my people, the Luyas, we call ourselves the Luya nation. Not even tribe community, no. Instead of saying like.
Yes. Yeah, so Kenya might reach a point where it can be a nation, but it's not there yet. It's still composed of different nations. These nations are, of course, are not states, and all of them used to be states, actually. Do you agree with me, Remy? All of them used to be states, but then the colonial government came and dismantled the states and then put together this mosaic.
I wouldn't go that far because you have sometimes like nomadic groups who don't necessarily have I guess an attachment like that, where you can say that, okay, this is the leadership of the Maasai, this is what they're doing, and
But then now I will ask you a question, and maybe this is where we might have a disagreement. What makes a state, according to you?
I think you need people, and you need like a form of organization, like pull them together, like So let's say, for example, with the state of Kenya, there's the national government in Nairobi, right? That manages these people. Can I just chip in?
Yeah, chip in, come in. Welcome. How are you doing, though? It's been a...
I'm doing pretty good. The traffic in Mogadishu is so bad today. It looks like everyone's going out for iftar at the same time.
Okay.
Quick run
Yeah.
question. You know the definition of a state in pre-colonial is quite different from a colonial to post-colonial.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
So
what is a state?
what would you call a state? And remember, we are having this conversation because Remy is saying some of the nations that existed before colonial time, he wouldn't go as far as calling them states. And now I asked him what is a state. I don't think he's finished that thought, and Remy will come back to you. Remember, you'll have to tell us that.
Yeah, let me give back the mic to Remy.
Mhm.
I just wanted to clarify on is it pre-colonial? Because I don't think it's the same thing as state in pre-colonial and post-colonial. So I give back the mic and I'll come back to you.
Okay. I think that's a very interesting way of looking at it, where you are separating the state before colonial and the state after. Um, I don't agree, but let me hear what Remy says, and then I'll say. But before we do that, I think I have people watching on YouTube. There is Jilo Afima. I'm Somali Kenyan. My family are all my family are native to Kenya, but from school till today, nobody accept I'm Kenyan. They think I'm lying, or they push me aside. So I gave up saying I'm Kenyan. Yeah, that's the conversation we were having. I think Ahmedi left, possibly he left. We were having that conversation, and we were trying to figure out where did it come from.
Sincere apologies. I had a call. Sincere apologies. I didn't catch the question.
No, let me finish. I'm reading some things people are writing here, then we'll come back to that. I'm just trying to read comments so that people don't think I'm ignoring them. So I was explaining to this person that we were having this conversation about why so many Kenyans, when they see the rest of Kenyans, when they see a Somali, they automatically assume that that person is not Kenyan. So we were having that conversation, and somebody explained his situation. Now we come back to that issue of state and during, before colonial and after colonial. Remy, you are,
Yeah.
yeah, go on. I
So
think
what
you
I
are
was
saying.
trying to finish is a system of organization, because you can have people groups
Mhm,
just existing. Let's say like the Hadzabe,
mhm,
right? They exist, but then they don't, let's say, have the capacity for tax collection.
mhm,
And that's something. Let's say, for example, if you're looking at Kintara, Wanga, Rwanda, whatever, they've always had these people who collect taxes, distribute some kind of service, even if it's like an organized kind of military or something. So it's those institutions and those people coming together like that, right? Because this could even happen where, like, you have Mombasa, Pate, you have Ajuran, you have like all these states, right? Because you could say that, okay, this is the leadership of Ajuran, this is the tax collectors, these are the institutions, these are what they're doing together as a community, right? So to me, it's people by default are not a state unless they organize themselves and build some kind of institution.
So maybe I'll explain my understanding of what a state is, and then you can of course tell me where my logic is faulty. Um, I remember I read a book, one of very powerful books I've ever read. What is this guy? I'm forgetting.